All right, everyone. Good morning. Just heard myself back there for a minute, but I think we're okay. I think it was just the very first word I said. Morning, everyone. How are you getting on? Tony, how's things ahead of a busy old weekend?
18 games, 67 days. Bring it on, Hamish. We've arrived at that moment. The ultra marathon.
Where are you getting this 18 from? I think it's more than 18 now.
No, I counted it up to the end of February, start of March,
Okay.
so it's 18 and 67. That's what I make it.
Right. Okay.
I think you took it longer, didn't you? And the assumption that they go further rounds in the Scottish Cup et al. Right, so I'll but yeah, at the moment that's what it is. But might be warm where you are, Hamish, but it's cold here.
It's roasting hot here, actually.
Heavy jumper on, as you can see. So yeah, it's winter's arrived. I think you'll find, but a good way to start the day, Hamish. Some good Celtic news, eh?
Great news. I'm assuming most of you have heard, but if not, Alistair Johnston has agreed a new deal with Celtic. We kind of knew that was coming. It's been officially confirmed now. The deal will run until the summer of 2029, which is a fair amount of time away. I don't even want to think what age I'll be in 2029. Well, Alistair Johnston's...
Console yourself with the fact you'll be younger than me, Hamish. There you go.
That's the way these things work, isn't it? It just seems it just seems very futuristic. 2029. Whether he's still here in 2029 or not, I guess would be the big question. It's one we were kind of debating slightly, and we can maybe come back to whether Alistair Johnston is going to be one of these legacy Celtic players. And I hate myself for just using that phrase, but you know what I mean? One of these captains, or is he just going to be a player who does incredibly well for us and then earns us a lot of money? I guess it's win-win in many ways. Certainly win today, new deal for AJ.
I think everybody's buzzing with that, isn't it? He really has stepped up to the plate, and I don't think any Celtic supporter has a bad word to say about Alistair Johnston. The manager was also very glowing in his praise about him. If you read the piece that appeared on the Celtic FC website, listen, I think he's just took to Celtic like the way you want any player to from day one. He has grasped it, and he's come in and he's enjoyed it. And I mention this a lot, Hamish, that you can't buy personal happiness. This is a guy who's personally happy. He's loving his time at the club. He's loving playing under the managers he served under. He made his debut in a Glasgow derby at Ibrox, passed that test with flying colours, and everybody thought, okay, he's riding the crest of a wave with his international team. Canada, who have this golden generation. The World Cup is going to be in Canada in a couple of years, and he is just, life's good. To quote the manager, if there's one person in a good place or a happy place in the whole of the Celtic squad, it's Alistair Johnston. His girlfriend or his future wife is currently studying in Edinburgh, isn't she, for a few years, I believe, as well. So, talk about building blocks falling into place. He's now become one of the top earners at Celtic, you would imagine. And I also mentioned this, that when you become a top earner at Celtic, you're not playing for nothing.
No, it's
under the popular misconception that Celtic players don't get paid a lot of money. The top earners get paid a lot of money. The top whack is a lot. But if you're going to compare it to England, then or other, leagues in Europe where people are handsomely rewarded, then you can see the disparity. But Celtic cannot afford to be frivolous like that with wages. But the guys on the top whack get heftily weighed in, and I think Alistair Johnston is content with his lot, and he's probably been told, listen, you're a future captain if you want it. If not, sign this deal, and then both the club and the players protected. And as you said there, it's a win-win. So a tremendous news. And as I say, you were looking forward to this football match already at the weekend, but that's put an extra spike in your step. And then we'll hear the AGM is going to happen as well. Next couple of hours are starting in the next 20 minutes, I believe. And we'll see what transpires from that. But it's good news week, isn't it? At Celtic every week at the minute.
Fabulous. And I noticed even that the club, off the back of the Christmas ad that launched yesterday, and by the way, we can maybe even discuss that because I thought it was fantastic. I noticed that they teased the Alistair Johnston contract news just prior to that with the image of an image of Alistair Johnston with Tony Roper. So clearly it's something that's been planned out for a while. and also something that the club have been aware of, and it just sets the right tone. Obviously, we knew it was coming, but I think having Alistair Johnston tied up to a few extra years is really good business, because he's just from the minute he's come into the club, he's just been. I was going to use the word solid there, but solid does him a disservice because he's so much more than that. But what I mean is, like, from his debut at Ibrox, he's just been such a good fit for Celtic. He's just been absolutely perfect, so reliable. Very rarely has a poor game, Alistair Johnston. And even when he maybe doesn't necessarily, or having his best game, he's always got that work ethic and that desire and all the things we love as fans to fall back on. I genuinely love the guy. I love his attitude as well. He's just he's been such a refreshing addition to the club. He really has.
I think he's the epitome and embodiment of everything that you want in a Celtic player, both on and off the field. He represents your club in the way that you and I feel every member of staff should. Sometimes it doesn't happen like that, but to the likes of you and I, playing for Celtic is the highest office, and managing Celtic's the highest office that you can have on planet football. That's the way we look at it, and we want our players and our manager to treat that with the reverence that it deserves as a supporter. And when you have that, as I said before, I'm the eternal optimist, the eternal dreamer, and the eternal romanticist about my football club. But that's the way I want everybody to feel about the football club, because it's that important to us. And Alistair Johnston's one of these guys who, was scouted during a World Cup. You thought, okay, who's this guy? You started watching him in Qatar, and then he came, and he's just blown you away. He's blown you away by the fact that when Alistair Johnston comes in and speaks to the likes of ourselves, you're starting yourself in for a good 20 minutes, and you're thinking, right, this is going to be some transcription, but he doesn't leave you empty-handed. He's wonderful to talk to. He's wonderful to listen to, and he knows how to. He's well versed, media trained, and I mentioned it earlier in the season. He's the guy that said Nicholas Kuhn was coming out his shell, and they were encouraging him to be more peacock-like. When do you hear a footballer talk in those kind of terms about fellow players? Be more of a peacock in this dressing room, because you can't be a shrinking violet type of guy, a wallflower, and stuff like that. You just, and you just your ears kind of you sort of shut that and listen when he's in the room, and he's great. He's just, but as I say, he's one of these guys who's grasped Celtic, and I say it a lot, that once it gets under your skin, and you are in a place of personal happiness, the manager bangs on about it as well. There are far better places to play your football and ply your trade if you hit that kind of personal happiness note.
I mean, I think sometimes maybe we do ourselves down slightly, because we know we play in Scotland, and that holds Celtic back clearly as a club. But I think you're right. If you look at what playing for Celtic is, even for someone like Alistair Johnston, who didn't necessarily have a connection to the club, didn't grow up supporting Celtic, you're playing for trophies, which I think if you ask virtually any player what will they remember when they retire, it will be the winning trophies, those who are lucky enough to get it. So you're playing for trophies. At the moment, you're playing in the Champions League for a top manager. You're playing in front of, I know we're biased, but I think certainly some of the best fans in the world, genuinely, when you look at the way we back our team, home, away, abroad, whatever. And as you say, you're paid pretty well to do it as well. It's a hell of a roll, and you just wonder how long will AG want to do this for. And I think it's going to be interesting. As I was saying to you before, there's some players you get an idea that they're going to come to the club, they're going to play well for us, and then they're going to move on. And we've got countless examples over the years. Like Matt O'Reilly's an obvious one. You knew Matt O'Reilly was going to hit the level and then eventually move on. Other players come to the club or come through our system or whatever, and go on to become long-term Celtic players. I mean, Mikael Lustig's a good example, isn't he? Another right back who came, and great player, Mikael Lustig. but was a brilliant servant for us, huge in that dressing room. And you just wonder, because Alistair Johnston has a bit of both. He has that love for the club already. You can tell he's a huge presence in the dressing room, like Lustig was, but also he's that good that you wonder, could offers come, and I'm sure offers will come down the line. So what does your gut tell you? Do you think Alistair Johnston is like a player who move on in a few years, or is he someone who could potentially be the successor to Callum McGregor?
I think that's kind of been mapped out for him, as I say, if he wants it.
And
I think at this moment in time and juncture in his career, he wants it. And I can see him staying for a fair length of that contract. I mean, you look at the word he used to describe when he was handed the captaincy. One word, honoured.
Yeah.
And that's someone, as you say, who's come from Canada, who the club isn't uppermost in his mind growing up. But he said honoured, and he realised the symbolicness of being handed that armband that day, that it's a big gig, and I thought that was a touch of class from Alistair Johnston. There was no big rambling speech about, just a simple word, honoured. Says it all to me, and says it all the kind of person that he is and the player that he is, that he's so well liked in that dressing room. He's a player's player, isn't he? He's a manager's dream. The manager said he just that work ethic that he's got, that attitude, and I think he's just one of those players who you would migrate to in a dressing room like that, because he just seems like an all-round top guy on and off the field, and as I say, he just represents our club brilliantly. And a lot of boxes are getting ticked with Alistair Johnston in terms of his football career. He's playing at a really high level in the Champions League. We spoke about it off air before we come on. This evolution of the Champions League, that could probably, you can see that going to 10 games, 12 games. That's a third of a football season, more or less. And that's a great showcase. So you are playing at a good level. I know you talked about it there, that people are detrimental to Scottish League and stuff like that. They're still blown away by it. Everybody that comes up from down south or comes from foreign shores are still blown away by playing for Celtic, playing in front of that crowd, winning trophies and medals. And that's your memories of your playing career at the end of the day. What do you have to show for it? Yeah, you'll have a healthy bank balance playing for other clubs, but when you turn around and you say, I played in that final, I won that, I mean, that's what a lot of players look back on with pride. And also, playing for Celtic's never been detrimental to your international aspirations for any player. If anything, it enhances them. Nicholas Kuhn's the latest to be told that Germany are keeping an eye on him, and he's not shied away from saying that's his ambition to play for Germany. I think in the fullness of time that will happen for him. Matt O'Reilly had the pick of international teams, quite a lot of them, plumped for Denmark, made it into that squad. Alistair Johnston's riding the crest of a wave with this Canadian golden generation. So, and you have the Japanese contingent who are all now making strides in the Japanese international team. So I think people now see Celtic as a really viable option, Hamish, in terms of a career choice, and whether that be to stay for the duration, or as Matt O'Reilly did, and probably Nicholas Kuhn will, that stepping stone before you become a better footballer. But I think Celtic's performances, both domestically and in Europe this season, will have made plenty of people look up, take notice, and say, you know what? If they're fortunate enough to be asked the question, then they'll see it as a viable option.
Yep, great news. Alistair Johnston, new contract until the summer of 2029. Just briefly running through the quotes, he says he's delighted to extend his contract. He got a brilliant welcome to the club in 2022. Ever since, I have had the best of times, loving every minute as part of such a great institution, and wanted to continue to be part of that. Brendan Rodgers saying it's fantastic news for the club and our fans that Ali has agreed this new contract. In a relatively short period of time, he's established himself as a fantastic player for Celtic, showing real quality and just delivering performance after performance for us week in, week out. Everyone at the club felt it crucial that we extend Ali's contract with Celtic, and I'm delighted that we have been able to do this. Just on the Christmas movie, I think is the official term that the club used, pretty short movie. I thought the one that came out yesterday was excellent. Think it's probably, in my opinion, the best one they've done so far. Certainly the kind of most emotional one, I guess, and based off the story of the character Tony Roper. Was it Joe that Tony Roper was playing, and the dream of playing for Celtic? Wasn't quite as many daft moments in it. There's still a couple. My pal pointed out Greg Taylor's sorry that he said, which I think was in relation to the sorry Rangers 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And there was a Joe Hart moment, wasn't there? And the are you a ghost to Casper, which I thought was quite clever. So there was funny bits, but mainly I thought it was a really kind of wholesome movie.
Yep, you're at one end of the spectrum, I'm at the other. I thought it was a bit of a cringe fest. I'll be in a minority. I'll be in a minority here. I don't. Lots of people tell me it's the best advert ever. I can't. I will change
with you.
Everybody. I think Smell the Gloves with me as well. But I don't know.
Is that no part of the fun? No, needs to be a bit cringy. Christmas and all that. Christmas is cringy.
I don't want to come across as the Grinch. It wasn't for me. I'll leave it at that. I think before I talk myself into a hole and get hate mail. Just to say, I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. Like I have felt it a lot of times.
Well, it's only November the 22nd, Tony. So maybe December the 22nd. We'll give it a go.
It might grow on me. Yeah, okay, but fair enough. But it's. I think people either love it or they hate it, don't they? Not so much love it or hate it. I think they love it or they're kind of meh. I'm a bit meh. So there you go.
We need like a movie review show that we do together, because I'm sensing there's a good dynamic here when it comes to entertainment and stuff.
Football related movies or something like that.
Or just any movies, to be honest. Movie club. You sign up for that? Imagine we just brought out a movie club starting next week.
People say, "Come on, Tony! It's everyone's dream to play for Celtic." I know it is. I get that. Listen, I get the sentiment behind it and all. I just found it a bit twee and a bit cringe. It's me. I told you before. It's my thoughts. I'm not stopping people from enjoying it and liking it.
Oh, you've got plenty of agreement there as well. There's a lot coming in. Smell the Gloves with you. Yeah. So anyway, that's that. So if you were going to the AGM, would that be your criticism today? You'd stand up and you'd say, Michael, what was that?
I can't. I only speak for myself. I can't speak for others. And lots of people like it. Great. Magnificent. So carry on. It's fine. I didn't. You're allowed a contrary opinion. It's allowed. just because people tell you to like something doesn't mean you have to like it.
AGM wise today, what's the story there? I thought it was 11:30 it started. You're pretty adamant it's 10:30, which is 5 minutes from now.
I thought it was 10:30, but
I thought it was doors at 10:30 and kick off at 11:30. But anyway, it's going to happen, and that's where Ryan is. By the way, everyone. Well, he's not there, is he? But he's
Ryan
is he there? No?
doing a blog on the Celtic AGM, which explains his absence from the briefing today. My first question would be, I would be asking about Brendan Rodgers' contract. In the light of Alistair Johnston signing a new deal, I would want Brendan Rodgers to sign one. So that's be my pressing question at the AGM. I know there's other things as well about the development of the stand as well, and various other. I mean, it always throws up something, doesn't it? We spoke off here just before we came on, and the AGM always throws up some googlies, doesn't it? Some left field stuff and all that, So
quality of the pies or something like that.
That's my dogs having a go at me for not liking the Christmas advert.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. My thing that I would be interested in, and to be honest, the AGM, you don't ever really get answers. You're never really satisfied. But I think we got a comment in, and it was talking about Paul Tisdale, and it'd be interesting to see if Paul Tisdale's at the AGM. I don't know if he would be at the top table. I kind of feel like he might, because it's a pretty long top table, and obviously you've got the main directors, the manager of the men's team, the manager of the women's team, and I'm sure in the past we've had like figures like, and the names are going from me now, but like Lee Congerton and who was the other one? I'm sure guys like that have been at the top table as well. So maybe Paul Tisdale will be. I'd be interested to just hear a little bit about what the club's doing in terms of the recruitment department, because it's something Brendan Rodgers was pretty vocal about at the end of the window.
I hope he would be there, and I would hope that he would get asked a question. Paul Tisdale could take the floor.
He's certainly not shy from what we hear.
It'd be good to hear from him, wouldn't it? So, but failing that, then you've got to say that, because January window's just around the corner. So you'd like to...
Yeah, it really is.
You'd like the question to be asked about, without giving away specific targets, but is there, due diligence and work being done? I'm sure there will be, but you just like a wee kind of update on that, and it'd be good to hear from him, just to sort of, I mean, we know what he looks like, but put a face to the name, and for him to just sort of introduce himself to the wider Celtic fan base and audience. So yeah, I would like to see him make an appearance, but yeah, it is what it is. But I mean, we've gone 22 minutes, Hamish, and we've not even mentioned tomorrow night. Incredible. It's just a brilliant game to come back to, isn't it? It really is. For me. Anyway, I just think it's under the lights, 7:45, Edinburgh Tynecastle. He just doesn't get any better. We spoke about it all week, that it's just one of those stadiums that get the juices flowing, doesn't it?
Yeah. Don't have a lot of time for Hearts personally, but I really enjoy going to Tynecastle. It's a hell of an atmosphere, and I think it will be tomorrow night. The more I've been thinking about it, the more I think it's such a huge opportunity for this team. You're going away from home into what's going to be a pretty hostile environment. Tynecastle's hostile at the best of times. A Saturday night, I think that's going to be ratcheted up a notch or two. We've only got that small section of Celtic fans. So you're going in, I'm not going to use that phrase that Steven Gerrard didn't like, but you all know the one I'm talking about. It feels a bit like we're doing that tomorrow. And obviously last time we lost there, I know we won last season there with the one section of away fans pretty comfortably, I think 4-1 or something like that. So we are capable of doing it, but what a challenge for the team tomorrow. I know Hearts maybe haven't been great so far this season, but since the new manager came in, they've been all right. I think they've played 7, won 3, drawn the derby, lost 3, some tough games in there as well, some European games. They've won a couple of European games. So I think Hearts are... I don't think they're in a false position, because the table doesn't lie, but equally, I think we should be braced for a challenge tomorrow night. I think it might be, a fast start from Hearts. It might be a tough game for us, and we need to be on it. But equally, what an opportunity for the team at the start of this big run that we're all looking forward to, just to go out and continue where we left off last time.
Like, Hearts will be robust and physical, and they'll come at you. We've got plenty of tools in our armoury to sort that. But I think Celtic have got a lot of options in their arsenal. And as you say, I just think that tomorrow night Celtic will hit the ground running again as well. I really do. I've just got a feeling that they'll come out all guns blazing, and whatever Hearts do, Celtic will combat it. I really do. I just get every confidence this manager and this team. And we'll be doing our predicted 11s, myself and Ryan. But you've got a team in mind, Hamish, who would be your starting 11 for that?
Yeah, I do. I think I'm leaning towards Bernardo in my team, like you've been saying. I did have Hatate, but I think I just think Bernardo might give us a bit of physicality that's required, because Hearts are obviously going to be pretty physical, but that quality on the ball as well. And maybe Hatate travelling to the other side of the world might be in my thinking as well. I know Bernardo played as well during the break. So I think I'm leaning towards Bernardo, Engels, McGregor as a midfield.
Yeah.
think the front three picks itself. I've got Greg Taylor in my team.
Right, okay.
I think when the big games come around, Rodgers might go for Taylor like he did against Leipzig. I think there's a chance Vi plays and then Taylor comes in for Bruges, but I do think Taylor might play both of these first two games and then Vi might come in against Ross County.
Fair enough. That's yeah. I managed to switch you on to Bernardo. My job is done. I'm happy with that. But yeah, I think it's just got the hallmarks of a cracking night, a cracking atmosphere. But I really do think that, as you say, it's a chance to just get back on the domestic horse again and embrace what's coming. And I'm pretty excited about tomorrow night. Try to keep a tin lid on it, to be honest. But it's just one of those. It's one of those occasions where you're just glad that you're going to be there. It'll be freezing as well, to be fair. Just hope the conditions don't play any kind of part in tomorrow night's proceedings. But yeah, I can't wait. But it's just one of those games that I think games like this always bring the best out in Celtic as well. Especially Rodgers Celtic. The bigger the game, the kind of better they seem to kind of rise to the occasion.
Will saying terrible kickoff time for us down under. I can only assume you're in Perth, Will, because here I'm pretty happy because usually say it was 12:30. Say it was 12:30. That would be like a kind of 11:30 p.m. kickoff for me. So it'd be a case of staying up. As it is, it's a 6:45 a.m. kickoff, so pretty early. But I'm happy to get a good night's sleep and get up for it. So I'm delighted. I'm going to see it live and get a good night's sleep as well. But I just think the atmosphere is going to be great. And we lost last time at Tynecastle as well. It's crazy we've not been to Tynecastle since I think that was early March. So it's like, what's that, like 8 months longer since we've been to Tynecastle?
Yeah, just about 8 months. Yeah, the infamous Yang sending off and penalty decision, wasn't it? Yeah.
Will we go back over that? Will we spend 5-10 minutes talking about the Yang? It was never a red.
Remember Celtic missed a penalty that day as well. I mean, so, but yeah, listen, I think everybody had their feelings and say on that day. It's gone. We move on, and this is a new challenge. But if you're mindful and vengeful and harbour those kind of words like revenge and all that, then I guess you'll want certainly some kind of payback for that. People talking about the officials and stuff like that. I don't really care who officiates Celtic games. I don't care until they get involved unnecessarily, like they did that day at Tynecastle. I think the manager was absolutely brilliant in his after-match comments that day. He systematically destroyed them, didn't he? And with some class words and choice of words, which I thought was excellent. So, yeah.
Not looked back since then, have we?
No. And until we have another reason to make the manager speak like that, then I genuinely don't tend to bother with officials, because I think Celtic are good enough to overcome any hurdles or thrown away. But I think most people felt that day that it was, the manager certainly felt that certain decisions were taken out of the referee's hands with VAR officials getting involved, and we all saw what happened. So, but yeah, I think Celtic tomorrow night will be very strong, regardless of what team the manager plays or what permutation of the team he plays. I think he will bear in mind what happened in the international break and guys that are travelling and stuff like that. But certain areas pick itself. Just the midfield for me. That's the only one that you're going to shake up. And as you say, probably Taylor in for Vi. But we shall see. But he tends to like Taylor, as you say, for the big games, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And Taylor's notched a winner at Tynecastle before, that 4-3 game. So, that brilliant game when Ange was there. And another day when a handball wasn't a handball, wasn't it? And Ange was just like, one of the few times I've seen Ange really go like that. It's incredible.
Laughing, wasn't he?
Just like
the sideline.
Ridiculous, but yeah. I don't want another game like that. Exciting as it was in Celtic coming out in the end of it, it was too close for comfort. I'd rather a landslide, if it can be that.
Yeah, Will wondering who the ref is. It is Stephen McLean. VAR is Greg Aitken.
Greg Aitken, yeah. So
we'll see how that goes. Someone was pointing out that it's 8 months unbeaten domestically. P. McLaughlin reckons it's 27 unbeaten domestically, only a couple of draws in there as well. And as I pointed out yesterday, both of those draws were games that we should have won. So it's been a hell of a run of form since then. I've seen Hearts a few times this season. Opening day of the season against Rangers, I didn't think they were anything special. It was a kind of poor game, that one. I saw them in the Edinburgh Derby recently, and that was an awful game. Again, wasn't massively impressed. And I saw them against Heidenheim in the Conference League, and I thought they were poor that night as well. Like, they created chances, but really toothless up front. Apparently, Lawrence Shankland's only scored 1 goal this season.
Yeah.
And we're in the middle of November. So hopefully that continues tomorrow night. But I do...
bearing in mind that was the same Lawrence Shankland that was better than Matt O'Reilly.
Madness. I mean, is that not the worst call in history? But we all felt it at the time that it was ridiculous.
I just thought, throw that wee grenade in there just for a laugh. But yeah, it's that tells you all that you need to know, that Hearts are struggling for goals, aren't they? If Shankland's not scoring, then they're not scoring.
Yeah. I think Danda's a good player, and Spittle's lively. Alan Forrest can be good.
And you do know the kind of game you're going to get. It'll be a physical, robust, fully committed game tomorrow night, and you're going to have to stand up to that. So, but I think these players can stand up to it at this moment in time. As the manager keeps saying, they're in a good place, they're in a good spot, and we shall see. But bring it on! I just can't wait. I've not been able to wait for it since the international break kicked off. So now that it's
amazing, we're nearly there, isn't it? We've come through the break. It's glorious,
and we are now entering the ultra marathon, and there's just so many things to look forward to. And if it goes to plan, as you hope it will, then you'll be very happy come the end of the festive period. That's easier said than done. You don't want to look too far ahead. The next challenge is Hearts, but it's hard not to look too far ahead because there's so much to look forward to. And that's why that's where you want Celtic to be, competing at that level for everything on every front. And that's why we have the huge, the depth and squad that we do have, and that options, so that we can rotate it and give players game time when they need it and rest when they need it. And it's, as I say, it's exciting, isn't it? It's an exciting period for everybody involved.
Yeah, looking forward to getting underway, and we'll have Brendan Rodgers speaking to the media later, the AGM this morning as well. You guys planning anything over the weekend ahead of kickoff tomorrow?
We will be on with our usual pre-match and post-match. There'll be the predicted 11s as well. We'll be doing the usual Q&As. I think it's Alistair Johnston has been put up for obvious reasons. The manager, Alistair Johnston, will speak today. The manager will also speak at the AGM. So there's a lot happening Celtic-wise, so just keep your eyes peeled on the website and for all the stuff that we do. But we'll be covering, we'll be across everything, let's put it that way, as you do. But yeah, I think it's 2:00 today for the manager and the player, because I think the AGM will finish about 12:30, something like that. So they'll be straight on to preview duty in the press conference. But looking forward to hearing what both men have to say, and also what transpires from the AGM. There's always something, isn't there? There'll always be a left field shot from somewhere. But we shall see. We'll see what those at the top have to say for themselves, Hamish. But everything's going pretty well, isn't it? So I would imagine that it might be one of the more easier AGMs that it has been in the past.
I'd say so. Stephen wondering if it's on anywhere. No, it never is. But the best thing to do would be to follow
the live blog,
Ryan's live blog. There you go. Seamless promotion.
Check
out Ryan's live blog. He'll have all the stuff that's going on there, Stephen.
Love that. Thank you for that, Hamish. Appreciate that, Brian. I'll appreciate it too. So, yeah, bring it on, Hamish. 8:15 tomorrow night, Hearts Celtic Tynecastle. Where would you rather be?
Well, at Tynecastle for me, but sadly I can't be there. But looking forward to it. Yeah, as I say, the guys will have videos ahead of the game. And yeah, exciting times. If you fancy subscribing to us ahead of this busy period, it costs absolutely nothing. It's a click of a button and it helps us to grow the channel, find more Celtic fans like you, and also can give you perks like being able to set a alarm for when we go live. Tony, we'll head off for now. Thanks once again for chatting away. Thanks everyone for tuning in, watching. I'll catch up with you on Monday, but plenty of chatting to be done